welcome to Real Frank Movie Reviews. In this episode, we're going to review the new movie Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. My special guest reviewer and I will be talking about spoilers, so there's your spoilers alert. Now, are the true Dungeons & Dragons fans, the hardcore ones, are going to be happy about this movie? Or did Hollywood do their little thing? We'll get into that next.
Real Frank.
All right, let's welcome back to the show the one, the only Kevin. How you doing, Kevin?
Good, thank you, Frank. How you doing?
Fantastic. First of all, just as a disclaimer, I've never played Dungeons & Dragons ever in my entire life. How about yourself? Were you a fan of Dungeons & Dragons or ever played it?
Yeah, I did. I remember back in middle school we would have D&D sessions during lunch, right? So it's quite a while ago. No, I've always been a fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've owned the books at various points in my life, so yes, I have familiarity with the game.
Well, that's good. So then we'll have a perspective of someone who has zero knowledge of this game and some knowledge of this game, perspective of this movie.
So the way I would answer that is if you didn't come into this with any background knowledge,
yes,
they didn't really. It's just gonna be like Easter eggs, right? You'll see the Australian character, you know that's erased from the game. You'll see, like, you know that spell with the hand, right? The demon hand.
Yes, yes.
That's the spell from the game. So it's like Easter eggs. I mean, it was just there for people who play the game or have knowledge of the source material. But you could come into this, just take it as a fantasy movie and walk out of it. I don't think you have to. It's spoiler. That's one of the problems I think with this movie is they dumbed it down to the general audience. They said, what could we take the source material? How can we broaden it out to the most general audience possible, right?
Right.
I didn't like the direction they took the characters. I don't want to get into that quite yet, but I had some issues, just the tone and the pacing of the movie itself.
Okay.
So,
well, that's how I'm going to score it and view it, is from the general audience perspective here, not the hardcore.
No, it's fair, but I, like this movie was just, let's make it as broad appeal as possible, right? Let's get Chris Pine in there. Let's have him be his jokey self.
Right.
Let's have, it's fine. I mean, they want to make money out of the movie.
Right.
Right. So
that's why I love to hear your perspective of being familiar with the game. I did some research after the fact, like looking stuff up. It still, doesn't change my opinion of this movie. But like going in, I knew it couldn't be too specific because then they're going to alienate half their audience that they want to get, because it's all about those dineros. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I see where they took it, but even if not the source material itself you're pulling from, I mean, there are better fantasy movies out there, right? If you want to watch a fantasy movie.
Right.
And like every decision they did is let's make it the most common denominator, right? Like there's really no twists and turns. There's nothing surprising. I mean, in fact, they gave the whole movie away in the trailer. That's another issue I had too, right?
So I'm glad you said something like that, because I always wonder when I watch a trailer, because you can tell when watching a trailer if they're giving away too much or they're being real secretive about it. And when they give those trailers that give away everything, you're wondering, do they have faith in this movie? Or do the studios know this movie is garbage, so we got to put everything into it so everyone knows that, hey, this could be good, because they put the best things and everything into the trailer rather than keep it minimum.
Well, I mean, I'll bet the trailer got wanted to see the movie. When I first saw it, I said, "Oh, it's going to be just a generic movie. It's not really interested in that." Then the trailer started coming out. That there was some hype around the movie, right? People were saying it's a fun time at the movies. So I really was excited to see this movie, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah, the previews did look good, but they gave away like the one preview I saw, the beginning of the movie when they escape from prison. It's the entire scene. Or they're gonna get their head chopped off,
right.
where they're gonna get their head chopped off in the beginning.
Yeah, I know.
The whole scene.
All the twists and turns are pretty much in there. I mean, they didn't really show even the backstory of the characters. It's like, we want to have these rogue adventurers that steal, but then you find out they're stealing for his daughter and his wife.
Of course.
And his wife died.
Of course.
And at the end of the day, they became good guys. Even that was just like so generic. And
well, that's the Hollywood woke reality.
yeah,
of
it's a
making
Hollywood
everyone,
version, right?
They got to make everybody happy. Can't be bad guys to be bad guys. It's got to be a morale thing to be a bad guy.
Right.
There's a backstory. I didn't mind the way they went and intrigued the incorporated the backstory, the way they went around that with him, being paroled and then going like that. That was kind of interesting. That was probably my most interesting part of how this movie was filmed, was that little thing of how they presented the backstory.
Yeah, and I think my main problem was every character was so stereotypical too, right? Let's start off with the main lead. Did you enjoy Chris Pine as being this wacky like everything was trying to say was funny and smart? Did you enjoy that version of the character?
Well, I am a Chris Pine fan. I think he's a great actor.
Yeah, I like Chris Pine.
And I like his comedic, but that wore very thin, very, very quickly. The first couple of times, like,
right.
Ha ha. And then throughout the whole movie, you're like, oh, come on. This is. And the audience I was watching this with kind of had the same feeling. Like, you got a couple chuckles, and then from that point on, it's like, hey.
No, yeah, my audience was pretty quiet. I mean, they would laugh at a certain couple spots, but. And you had a full audience, so I was curious what your audience size was like.
It was pretty small, but I saw it pretty early in the morning. So, but
okay.
There was more kids in it than I thought there would be, because I didn't think that generation would be into that type of gaming movie or something.
Like I said, it's just a generic fantasy movie, right? With dragons and sword and sorcery. So,
well,
yeah, no, I agree. The Chris Pine performance. Like, they could have made that character more. It just felt so one note to me, right? Everything is a joke.
Exactly.
And then even when they would try to be more serious with him, with his wife and child, it wasn't enough for me. So,
for me, this movie was pretty predictable from start to finish.
Yes.
Pretty predictable. Was no surprises for me, no like shocking things. Even the scene with the dead people, like when they started doing the dead people thing with the 5 questions, I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna mess up the questions. It's
oh yeah,
they're gonna do that bit. I could see it coming. It's very predictable to me, this movie.
They kept on that bit for a while, right? They
yes.
Talked to so many, and they build up this whole story. It's sort of interesting, but right, I agree with you. You knew exactly what was going to happen there. So,
and then at the last guy that they don't finish asking the questions, you knew he was going to pop up at the end at some point, right?
Oh, you stayed for that. I didn't know if you're going to stay for that or not. Did you know that was the thing?
No, I just had a feeling that they didn't ask enough questions for the last guy. At some point, he's going to pop in again, so that'll be the end credit scene.
Right.
Yeah, so that was wild. I mean, the other thing is Michelle Rodriguez. I mean, I felt like I was watching.
Oh no,
I feel like I was watching.
I did want to bring her up.
I'm bringing her up because
so
it feels like I'm watching The Fast and the Furious, except she's got armor on.
Oh well,
the same character. This tough chick, kicks ass. No one messes with her, and it's just the same character that she plays in basically every movie.
Well, I would say her acting range isn't that great, right? She sort of plays the same. But props for her for going above and beyond. Like, she was massive in that movie. Did you notice her gun she had on her?
I noticed her guns and her hips. I looked at her hips. I was fascinated with her, like from her waist down. I was like, those look a lot bigger than they have in the past. Like, I couldn't tell if that was the costume or she was training legs or something.
No, I was curious. I looked on. Okay, so did you notice this part? I'll give her this. You know what kind of character? Like, to her, what was her, like, class or archetype when you were watching her?
Wasn't it? Let me look up my notes here. I would say she is. You got the normal humans, you got the monsters, and you got the adventure. She's an adventurer, maybe?
No, I think from the game, she is a berserker, right?
Berserker.
So she's like a barbarian type character.
Okay,
right?
okay. Berserker.
So, this took me out. I thought this was cool what she did. So, did you notice on the boat scene when she was standing? Did you notice anything?
When she was standing on the boat scene near the end when they were leaving?
Near the end, yes.
I can't recall.
I saw it once and I kept looking for it after that. So she did not shave her armpits for the movie. So if you look at that scene again, you'll see armpit hair waving in the wind. So
that could be
CGI. I saw it, and I'm not gonna lie, I picked up my phone right away and said, "Is this true? Am I seeing what I'm seeing?" And there's an article out there that says she put on 15 pounds of muscle for the movie, and she did not shave her armpits for 3 months.
For 3
Props
months?
to her. That's the way.
Oh my.
That is a way to dive into your berserker. Yeah, that'd be what a berserker does. So that was amazing to me.
I mean, did she really not shave for 3 months for the role? I mean, let's be honest.
I don't know. I can't confirm or deny that, but that was cool to me. So.
Yeah, and like you said about her acting, I mean, the one scene at the end when, I mean, we're giving spoilers. That's fine. She dies, and you knew they were going to use it.
Yeah.
The thing on it. But I swear to you, Kevin, I was analyzing her head, and I can see where she's dead. She's like hunched over like this. I can see her head moving like she's breathing.
I wasn't paying that close attention to that. I knew what was going to happen, so I was sort of okay,
yeah.
We know what this is going to go. So
now I got to see the armpit hair. Now I'm obsessed with that.
Yes. Now I want to watch the whole movie again to see, like, during the fight scenes, is it something you can notice, right? That would be probably the only reason I would watch this movie again, is for that.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you found that and saw that. I'm very proud of you. That's nice. That's nice.
What about the Bradley, certain spoilers, like the Bradley Cooper cameo? What did you think of that? That was just weird.
It was very weird, right? You were like, you look at it and go, is that Bradley Cooper? No, that can't be Bradley Cooper.
I looked at my phone, I can't be Bradley Cooper in this movie.
Yeah.
And it was. Like, he had this weird cameo where he played like a halfling or something, right? So...
I mean, the only thing I can think
of... It wasn't even a funny scene.
No, it was not a funny scene. And the only thing I can think of is he was a huge fan of the game or something in that regards growing up, and he thought, oh, I got to get in this movie somehow. Like you said, it made no sense. It wasn't funny. I mean, his role wasn't funny.
No, it was like they were trying to like show that the Berserker character, like, why she is the way she is, or what pain she had in her past, why she broke up with this dude, right? It was like a very serious moment, and it was just weird timing wise and plot wise and everything else, right? So, and
then you never see him again. That's the other part of it. Like, there's no coming back to it. You see that when they shook hands at the end, he sticks his hand out and she sticks her hand out and they shake hands. And you know, the discrepancy in size, he's small, way smaller than her, but in that scene where they touch hands, his hand's almost identical in size as they shake hands. Like, his hand, her hand should have wrapped around. It should have been like him shaking her finger or something, but when they shook hands, they were like identical in size shaking hands, and I was like, they got lazy. They got lazy right there.
Well, I would say the CGI in this film was average, right?
That's fair to say.
Like, I would say it's almost comparable to Marvel CGI at this point, right? So
the movement of some of the creatures was a little awkward and odd sometimes, but I mean, what did you think about that fat dragon?
It was fine. They were just trying to be funny, right? Let's take a dragon. You think a dragon as like a sleek monster, and they just made it like a fat monster. I didn't have any issues with the dragon part. So,
all right. What about did you have any favorite parts in this movie that you were like,
what did I like? I liked the heisty parts of it, right? So, like when there's another thing too. Like, you saw this in trailer. The bridge collapse. Hey, you can get over the bridge.
Yeah.
It just happened to have this magic wand that appeared out of nowhere that does what they need to do.
Yeah,
right?
they discover they discover what it does right before they need it. Like they need it, they discover, oh,
right,
we got this thing. Where'd you get this?
So what I enjoyed, I think, was I know I said I didn't enjoy Chris Pratt's performance, but the one time when he was talking on the beach to everyone to build up their confidence, I enjoyed that speech he gave, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I maybe enjoyed it because it was a break from his jokey persona he had. But the other part I enjoyed was the heist to break into the vault to get the treasure. So the whole helmet scene that were going on, the whole getting the portal into the wagon, and all that sort of stuff. That to me, that was the most exciting part. I thought the ending battle was just generic, and I didn't think it was that exciting.
No, it was awful.
No,
it was awful.
So,
that ending battle was a waste. That was, it was, they're all going to work together to defeat that wizard. That was it.
Yeah, and it was like watching a Marvel movie, like an Avengers movie at the end when they're all trying to fight Ultron, right?
Exactly.
I don't think I realized that when I was watching it, but now thinking about it.
It's the same thing.
Like was watching 5 Avengers fight Ultron.
Right.
Like where they're all trying to use their powers at once. So.
Exactly. It's just a waste. I don't know, Kevin. How do you think he's going to do well at the box office?
I think it's going to do well. I think the audience reaction after the movie was, I think people liked it, right?
Okay.
So I think it'll easily, I don't know what it's made to, I think it'll be a hit, unfortunately. Or unfortunately, right? That's what they wanted. So.
You think they're going to make a sequel to this?
I think so.
Yeah. You think the fans of Dungeons & Dragons, like the hardcore, die-hard, we play this weekly people are going to like this movie?
Probably not, but at the end of the day, they don't count, right? Let's be honest.
Right. I didn't realize, I went to the website since I was so unfamiliar with this, and I didn't realize like they come out with new gameplays like throughout. Like you can go to the website and they have a whole new thing, and they'll come out, introduce new characters and stuff. It's wild how evolving this thing is.
No, it's huge, right? There's a whole subculture that's into this for sure. So
it seems like it goes through phases. Like everybody's into it, and you hear a lot of people talking about it, then it kind of dies down, and you don't hear about it for a while. Then all of a sudden, it comes back up again.
Now, I think there was a resurgence in the mid 2000s or something, where it's huge now, right? I mean, it's not going to be in your everyday pop culture, but the people that are into that culture, it's huge for sure.
Right. What did you think of Hugh Grant?
And
his whole character thing.
He was the bad guy. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that unusual about him, but he wasn't funny. That's a problem, right? I didn't think he was charming or funny. They just cast him for the name. It's at the end of the day, I think it's a waste of a character. They could have done better with that role.
Yeah, so. He was pretty annoying, and the way he spoke and everything wasn't very good to me. He took away a lot of stuff from me from this movie. Listening to him talk, it became very repetitive. Like the way he presented his lines, like choppy. Maybe he was a fan of Dungeons & Dragons, but I wouldn't be in the movie. Maybe not.
No, it was a paycheck. For him, it was a paycheck.
Paycheck.
So,
all right. So you want to go ahead and score this thing?
Yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts you had? I mean,
No, I was bored. Bored.
You're bored.
I was bored. First half, I was okay, and then I just got bored. Chris Pine's character got on my nerves. It's like, shut the F up. Shut the hell up. All right? And then Michelle Rodriguez, I'm like, whatever, Where's Dom? He's going to come pick you up in his Challenger? Where's he at?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've never been a big fan of her acting or anything like that, right? She's not.
No.
She plays a role as exactly as I expected her to play it.
Yeah, right.
Oh, sorry. One last thought.
Yeah.
They even had a love story in here. Well, I don't want to call it a love story, but they had the sorcerer and the elf character, like.
Yeah, what's that about? I don't know.
Yeah, weird. It's like, again, it's trying to hit all the common denominators of a movie to make it sure you hit all the quadrants of people watching it.
You're right, because it felt shoehorned in there, right? Like, hey, all of a sudden he's going to drop a line on you to show that he's interested in you. It's the problem with Hollywood. This is what pisses me off about Hollywood, right? They got this franchise, it's Dungeons & Dragons. They could have done some really cool stuff for the hardcore fans, right? The hardcore fans are the ones who're going to dump the money. They're going to, if you make something specifically to a specific audience instead of generalizing it to this society where you got to make everybody happy, the hardcore audience would have dumped so much money into this movie. They would have saw it 5-10 times, and they would have bought all the merchandise. But no, I'm speaking for you, the hardcore Dungeon Dragon fans. They generalize it. Hollywood effed this movie up for you guys because they wanted to get so much money as they possibly could because they could never have enough money, and they screwed it up. Hollywood would have made all that money if they would have just stuck to a specific audience. But no, like you said, shoehorn all these stupid love interests and things to make all these different groups in society happy instead of just making a movie for what it's supposed to be made for.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Right. I mean, I think at the end of the day, that is the main problem I have, right? You could have done so much cool stuff.
So much.
And you could still have made it people would like, but you decided, okay, we need to make a jokey Marvel movie at the end of the day, right? So
exactly. And then probably what would have happened is if you would have focused just on one audience, made it true to Dungeons and Dragons fans, the people who went and saw it that weren't familiar with it would have been curious and then would have looked into Dungeons and Dragons and maybe got a whole new audience into this world. So by the time the second movie came out, it could have been even more massive popular because you had more people into the movie because of the first movie and learning.
Yeah, but that's too hard, right? It's easier just to make a jokey, a fun action movie. At the end of the day, it was not even funny, and it was like you knew what was going to happen. And it was just a generic movie at the end of the day, which is unfortunate.
Exactly. Hollywood could have went outside the box, said, hey, let's get some people on this movie that really know Dungeons and Dragons, write a good script, and make it for those people. Because this name's been around for years. We know this will be big regardless if we scope it. No, they got to stick to that Hollywood formula.
Exactly.
The $100 million they're hoping for formula.
Well, unfortunately, I think they might get it, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
They might get it, but it's even like you go to those like Rotten Tomatoes. Remember when the Rotten Tomatoes used to be so accurate with movies? You're like, oh, all right. But now that is so jacked up now, Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I don't follow that. That score means nothing to me, right?
Right. Oh, but dude, your face went away. Oh, there you are. There you are. You're back. You got sad about this Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and you had to. You had to take a break. All right, so let's go ahead and score this thing.
Wait. What are we scoring on? Because I asked a specific question. How are we going to do it?
So I don't know anything about the Dungeons and Dragons, but I looked it up, and this is what I found, okay? It says a score of 10 or 11 is normal human average. But adventures and many monsters are cut above average in most ability. A score of 18 is the highest that a person usually reaches. Adventures can have a score as high as 20, and monsters and divine beings can score as high as 30. So is that the kind of scoring you were referencing?
I think the first part of it's great. I think we need to base it on D20, right?
Okay.
D20 is like the main dice you use in Dungeons and Dragons for attacking.
Okay.
So I think 20 is exceptional. You said 10 and 11 was average.
Yeah, average.
And then below that, what do they say is like really bad in that?
They didn't say. They just that's all I found. So I'm assuming anything less than 10 has to be the worst, right?
Right. Good summary of what I'm trying to achieve with this unique scoring system on this movie. So
we got to do. There's no.
So you can't do like a 10.5. It has to be a number.
It has to be a solid.
20.
It has to be a solid number, right?
Has to be a solid number. Yes.
Okay. All right. If you're going by the points, there's no point system, so it's no halves. It's got to be a solid.
Nope. It's got to be a solid number.
All right. Go ahead.
You gonna go first, or should I go first?
You gotta go first. Always let the guest go first. I got mine here.
I will give it. Now I gotta think about this for a while since it's not usual scoring system.
Right. Average human is 10.
It's
10 average.
At the end of the day, I thought it was boring. I didn't think. I mean, there was some competence to the movie, so I can't go too low. Let's give it a 7. Is what I'm thinking of.
You give it a 7. Wow.
So.
All right, 7. So just slightly under average.
Under average. I don't think it's like a horrible movie. I mean, I agree it was boring. It could have been better. But there was some competence to the movie, right? Like.
Okay. All right. You had some confidence, so you give it a
7. And that's hard. I mean, I don't want to go too low. I don't want to go too high. So we'll do a 7.
All right. That's fair. So for me then, overall, based on Dungeons and Dragons scoring, no point system, and the score of 10 or 11 is normal human average in the game, I give this a 4.
Oh, yes.
A 4. If they would have went hardcore, different. Could have been a different score. Could have been a different movie. That's my opinion. I think they went too chicken again.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So.
I mean, the acting was good except for Michelle Rodriguez. I like Chris Pine, but it gets old. So, like I say, it gets old. Like, other than you giving me this new information about Michelle Rodriguez's armpits, I have no desire to ever watch it. But now I gotta watch it, the whole movie again, just to see the scenes, how they show it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm right with you. So I might revisit one more time for that.
Just for that. But that's a hell of a find, Kevin. That's a hell of a find.
And it made, like, after that, I was so excited to watch the fight scenes and say, what's going to happen? Like, the big fight scene after that, I forget, remind me, the big fight scene in the armory, was that was before the boat scene, or was it after? I don't remember.
In the armory? I think it was before the boat. Wasn't it?
I don't remember. I thought I was trying to pay extra attention during that, but it all, like, another problem all merges together, what happens when, right? So
they must have been really focusing in on it on the boat. Like, she did all this for the movie. Let's put it in this one scene to really show it.
Oh, she had her arm up on the boat.
Wow.
It was quite visible if you were looking in that exact spot for half a second when she was talking. So.
Do you think the same story down in Vagina Land?
Comment. I have no idea. Probably. I don't know. So.
The staying character, hey, back then they probably didn't shave down there either.
Right. 100%. So
I'm a method actor.
I have to say she was all in with her performance.
That's right.
Let's make a berserker character. Let's put on the weight. Let's not do. Let's grow our armpit hair out. She was all in. Props to her.
Yep. She's a method actor.
Yeah, method acting.
All right. So Kevin, based on Dungeons and Dragons scoring, Kevin gives it a 7. I give it a 4. That's our review for Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Until next time, thanks for watching.